The 2025 Integrity OCTANE Series season has been the perfect mix of everything we've seen in our past 2 years. The dominance of drivers like Ethan Lane chasing the all-time single-season win record. We've seen the parity of newcomers and rookies making it up to victory lane on a multiple race basis, and the next-gen cars return after a one-year hiatus, bringing it back from 2023. Much like last year, we got a similar group of drivers going after the championship. Some of these drivers are regulars on Monday nights. Others have been with us for 3 years on Tuesdays. And of course, for our leading man in the title race, it is his first opportunity to clinch a title here today. From Joliet, Illinois, this is the Chicagoland Speedway, and this is the 2025 Integrity OCTANE Series season finale. This is the moment of truth. What it all comes down to is 134 laps of racing, and it will begin in less than 10 minutes time. Welcome back to FTN Broadcasting. I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. The story of this race, of course, on FTN is the story of 29 previous races all wrapped together. In 2 words, Ethan Lane. However, it would be unfair to not talk about the championship guys that have been chasing him all throughout the season. Notably, last week, Nick Tarbuck putting down the performance of his season. He's off the track right now. He's one of the many who has already taken his qualifying time. 5 drivers eligible for the championship. Ethan Lane leading with a 29-point advantage, and you can see those drivers on your screen right now. While Lane has himself a significant edge, it doesn't mean it's all locked up. Nate Campbell, Sam Nieto, Ross Cato, and Nick Tarbuck still have a shot, and as a matter of fact, Nick, of course, Tarbuck has himself the defending win from last week. Nate Campbell has the pole position. Tom Wetmore's on his way right now. He will be taking his first lap of the night. Let's take a ride on board Wetmore and see what's going on at Chicagoland and get a feel for what it's like behind the driver's seat. Fifth gear down the back straight. Looks like no differentiation in terms of gears. Tom going to be working the high side as he sets himself up for the big lap, the one and only that he'll have here. And that, of course, will be this final one. 2 laps given to each driver. It takes about a minute or so to get those laps in, and it is quick. And as quick as it comes, it goes, so you got to make the most of it. Tom, that time by, going 18th with 30 seconds left. Ethan Lane jumps up to the pole by a full 1/10 of a second. Ethan with a dominating first lap, and it looks like he won't have to go for his second. Ethan's first puts him firmly at the top of the board. Jared Davis goes second. Davis will not have enough time to go around for his final lap, and it's going to be that first lap more than enough to get him up to the top. Front row reset in the final half minute, and at the top of the board, it will be Ethan Lane grabbing another pole position. Leader in victories and poles this season, Lane takes the top spot, and he'll get the ball rolling from Joliet, Illinois. 20 drivers take times, 21 register, and your final starting grid of the season has just been set. Ethan going to take that top time, a 29.463. The best of course, all drivers, and he's the only driver to go under the 29.5 mark in terms of his lap time. Best of the best, without a doubt, it is Ethan Lane, and of course, he's looking to finish off the championship race very soon with a victory. Now, of course, while he comes in as the championship favorite, he was the favorite in the Ignite Series, which came to a close last night, and Lane was not the champion. By virtue of 2 incidents in the first 2 races of the round, Ethan Lane ended up shuffling further back, and Hunter Madalenas, the 5-time winner and rookie, was able to take the title for 2025. Tom Wetmore taking laps here. He'll be following Matt Sizzler. Then you'll have Jared Davis here on pit road. Some of your final 5 already taking those nascent laps in this already beginning final practice. Not a lot of time. I mean, you can really only get about 5 or 6 laps in one run with the amount of time we have, but that's all not too much of a concern for these drivers here because they have 134 left to go from this point onward. 3 minutes left on the clock in final practice. Let's get to know your final starting grid of the season. And one familiar moment that we've seen again and again on the season has been replicated one final time. The number 6 team, Ethan Lane, the only driver this year in the Octane Series to make a start in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. To put it simply, he's a decorated driver and a decorated man in sim racing. With that pole, he will take his 13th on the year of 30 races. Of almost half of our races this season, Ethan Lane has been your leader to kick it off, and from Chicagoland, Ethan Lane takes the final pole of the year inside of row number 1 with a 29.463 second lap. Ethan will find himself top of the board. Next to him after that will be Jared Davis with Nate Campbell 3rd, Brian Yazik in 4th, Sam Nieto P5, and 6th place, that will be Jacob Fife. This top 6 grouping separated by about 0.2 of a second, and they're going to be real tight to one another, of course, notably the top 3 within about 1.5. 7th place is Zach Schrindenall. Bobby Keith goes 8th with another impressive qualifying run. Over the past 5 races, we've seen multiple top 10 starts from Bobby Keith. 9th goes Boomer Logan. 10th goes Nick Tarbuck, and Nick, after winning a clutch race last week, finds himself beginning in the top 10 again. Nicholas Ward is at the midway point of your qualifying lineup. He'll begin today in 11th, and John Zabarro wraps up the top dozen. 12th place is going to be then, of course, Zabarro. You'll have Ross Cato, who finds himself 13th. 14th place is Woody Mahan. 15th is Sean Kalist, and Tom Wetmore goes P16. 17th is Matt Sizzler with Casey Shue 18th on the board. Casey coming off, of course, a great week last week in the Ignite Series, grabbing a podium, and now looking for one more strong run on these Tuesday nights. Your final 2 drivers, Don Stevenson and Josh Gallagher, who took times. Gallagher with a 30.019 second lap, the last of all those with a qualifying effort, as Randy Fiash will start 21st and last on the starting grid today. It's your final lineup of the season, your final race of the campaign, the 2025 Octane Series set to go out with a bang, and Ethan Lane collects his 13th pole of the season. He'll start on top from Joliet, Illinois. 31 seconds left on the clock. Ethan Lane has been one of the guys who has chosen not to go onto the racetrack, so he finds himself waiting for the time being to get things started. He will not immediately jump onto the track, and he'll be one of those drivers hoping that, of course, nothing big changes. It shouldn't when it comes to track conditions anyway. Track conditions, speaking of weather, we're looking at 66 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temp all night long, a track temp of 77 degrees, and it is a little bit foggy here, so very mild and muggy conditions, which means that it's not going to be warm. Don't expect it to get warm all throughout the night. And so as a result, you're going to see drivers very confident with sticking it at high speeds across the circuit. I think that's going to be the biggest trend of all, speed and power in no shortage, as we see colder conditions than we've had at most of our intermediates throughout the season. A driver who benefits from those as much as he benefits from any other circumstance is Ethan Lane, and of course he'll be set to lead him off as the starting grid comes together. There's your iRacing pace car, there's your pole sitter, and there's your outside pole sitter, Jared Davis. Now everyone lining up as one, and of course it's going to all come down to the immediate jump off the green flag. Ethan Lane, if he gets that start going just right, He's probably going to bring himself up there for the first stint. It all comes down to track position. The intermediates are close quarters when it comes to racing, but clean air matters a whole lot. Tire wear hasn't been all too significant with the next gens on iRacing. We've noticed that as a major pattern. All things considered, however, it might be best, of course, to look at what we got going on right now in the short term. The long-term run is never guaranteed, and while we don't have as many drivers as we've had all season long, chaos tends to ensue when the stakes are higher. And with the championship on the line, and of course those top 5 positions in points still to be determined, some of our fastest drivers are going to be racing in the clutch tonight in their last ever opportunity to do so on the year. Notably, Nate Campbell and Sam Nieto come in tied for second in the championship. Campbell, the rookie, Sam Nieto, the 3-year vet, alongside each other, and after a year's worth of racing, now they are right where they need to be, neck and neck, fighting at the top echelon of the field, and they're, of course, ready to put the work in one more time, and they'll be starting on the same line, right alongside each other. A pretty fitting grouping. But I don't think it's going to be telling early on who gets the better of who. Sam Nieto has had a remarkable run from the 11th seed in the round of 15 to now 3rd overall on the campaign. He's got a lot more work to do, of course, to solidify that vice championship or the championship overall. And it begins here and now. 21 drivers for the final time this season will let the engines roar at the 1.5 miles in Chicagoland. Ethan Lane, leading the title race, has one goal tonight. That's to finish. Green flags out for the final time this year in the Integrity OCTANE Series. We are underway from Illinois, and Ethan Lane leads them after his 13th pole of the season. As they run single file down the back straightaway, Nate Campbell with some immediate pressure on Ethan Lane. Lane last night was in the running to take the race lead early, just couldn't get the job done in the end as Thomas Bresci ran away from the entire field. Of course, Lane able to snag a podium, but the victory eluded him in Homestead. Luckily for him, it's a completely different track with completely different circumstances. Lane was practically in a do-or-die situation last night. He was one of the drivers eligible for both championships, but in his situation, it was almost impossible to win the Monday Night Tour. Tonight is the exact opposite. Hunter Madalenas came in with a 10-point championship lead. Our point system gives us 1 extra point per position. Ethan Lane can't really lose the championship unless he finishes about dead last. So, to put that into context here, Lane just has to keep on going, and he'll have himself a title wrapped up at the end of night. However, every other one of those top 5 places is up for grabs. Nate Campbell, by taking the race lead, now has 2nd place in his hands. Sam Nieto, of course, is going to be just a few points back on him. Then you'll have Ross Cato and Nick Tarbuck going at each other. Right now, advantage Tarbuck, and Nick was able to pull together some critical points. He was able, of course, to win last week and cut the deficit from 45 to 39 points back on Ethan Lane. But perhaps most critically, he cut the gap by a huge amount on Ross Cato. He cut the gap by 18 points on Ross Cato. They were 20 points separate heading into the paperclip in Martinsville. After his win, the gap between them became only 2. Had Nick not had a faulty race the week prior, he might have been right up there in the mix for the championship. Ethan Lane drops down to 4th, and Nick Tarbuck goes 4 wide in pursuit of the top 5. So already an aggressive jump there made by the number 4 of Tarbuck. He'll go into 7th place, and he ducks down to the inside once again with Jared Davis right now side by side, and it's going to go 3 wide now. Zach Schrintenall, the ceiling of the circuit, trying to make his way out. Rinthal comes across the stripe 7th to 6th, up 1 on the day, make that up 2. He'll clear Nick Tarbuck and head into turns 1 and 2. Up and ahead of the field is now Nate Campbell by 3/10. Brian Yazik is in second. And notably, Yazik, Brian, of course, finding himself a winless driver this season. He's one of those guys who has been able to make his name with a fantastic campaign throughout what has been a very strong season, of course, in finding himself up at the front of the field and getting that experience up front. What has been his biggest undoing has been late race wrecks and getting involved in problems often not of his own. And as such, he is still winless. A driver who I think, without a doubt, has the potential. And not only does he have the potential, but I think he's got what it takes to really go out there and make a difference in the season to come. If he can get himself up there late in the going and not get involved in the heart of the field, Yazik has at the very least a win or two, of course, that we're going to be looking at in the coming seasons. We'll see if he can unleash that potential, though, as right now he finds himself on the backside again, racing just behind Nick Tarbuck as Ethan Lane. Lane has dropped back to 7th quickly, of course, after grabbing the pole. 9 laps in out of 134. Upstairs goes Jacob Fife. Fife to 8th. Bobby Keith has dropped back 1. He's now in P9. John DeBarro wraps up the top 10. Double file multiple ways through. Woody Mahan is also watching this fight. Woody now on the cusp of a top 10 himself, and so is Tom Wetmore. A lot of competitive drivers are going to be bottlenecked to the bottom. Way up high goes the number 61 of John DeBarro, rocketing up top, and luckily nobody else gets caught up, but DeBarro just snapped loose. Take a look at this, and for DeBarro, hopefully not the incident that ends this season, but John loose and he snapped high. A little bit of contact with Woody Mahan, but he only had that nudge after breaking loose to begin with. And one more time, on board with John DeBarro at the time of incident. John was loose, and snapped up high. Pushed a little bit too hard early into that corner, and it's hard to recover in a situation like that. So DeBarro now runs 21st and last, in jeopardy of going 1 down, as he's now 10 seconds off of your leader in Nate Campbell. There's Zach Schrintenel up in a P4. Zach looking to take a pole position, long awaited for this number 20 team. Yazik and Schrintenel alike winless on the season and now surrounded and sandwiched within a bunch of drivers who already have at least a win. Two-time winner in Nicholas Ward. Sam Nieto, the veteran with multiple wins across his 2023 campaign. Nick Tarbuck, one of very few who can claim he's won in 2023, 24, and 25. A great career he's had, and of course, one of the most consistent to do it across the modern era of the Integrity Racing League. Maybe not the flashiest. His career high in wins in one season here is only 4, but when you consider that he did that last season, where only 5 drivers won across 30 races, it's a pretty impressive statistic. And that 4-win campaign was the 3rd most wins any driver accumulated, and the highest without hitting the double digits. Tarbuck, a model of consistency, and of course, had it all panned out a little bit better to start this round, he might have been right up there fighting for the championship. But alas, tonight, his ceiling is 2nd in the championship points, of which, of course, he has to keep on battling, because while he's ahead now of Ross Cato, he's got Nieto and Campbell still further up on him. As they run, it would be Nate Campbell, 2nd in the championship points. Sam Nieto would be 3rd in points. Nick Tarbuck would be 4th in points. 5th in points would then be Ross Cato. That's as they run, subject to change, but it looks like the clear advantage would be with Nate Campbell. Campbell leading, of course, can basically take any position, and as a result, he is at his own mercy and controls his destiny when it comes to points. Ethan Lane, again, is more than 21 points above the next closest driver, and so unless he misses every bonus point and finishes dead last, and Nate Campbell wins the championship, Lane is in a nearly automatic lock situation to win the title. Not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. To stress that, it is still, by a technicality, very possible he loses the championship. But that would require a driver to finish with every single position point. So Nate Campbell would have to win this race, and then for the bonus points to all go to Nate. So there's still hope, but it would take a miracle for Campbell, and it would take a disaster for Ethan Lane. But there are just enough points available, thanks to our halfway stage bonus, to change up the championship. Not enough to realistically consider it, maybe. Maybe that's fair to say. If Ethan Lane finishes in the top 20, he automatically wins the title. So there is one position where it becomes a roulette, but right now, as he goes side by side against Casey Shue, he's in a very comfortable position. The 5 of Casey Shue, speaking of, he's taken this Exalta Chevrolet and he's made it his own on Tuesday nights, as much as Thomas Bressi has on Mondays. And Thomas Bressi, what a race he had last night. For those of you who didn't watch, Bressi needed basically to win to take a chance at a championship, coming in with a 10-point deficit. He ended up winning and dominating the final stretch of a race he qualified in 29th for. And much like the very first Ignite Series season, he went out 2 points short of title honors, and that was just under Hunter Madalenis. Unfortunately, well, Thomas wasn't able to make it happen, but that is the cap-off for his season, a second and final win on a journey that has been remarkable. The 2023 overall points winner and the vice champion in 3 of 4 seasons, and he could have been for all 4 had it not been for a connection failure in 2024. Casey Shue is taking on this paint scheme, and he's trying to bring it to more success as he's on the cusp of the top 10, battling with Boomer Logan. Good to see Boomer up here in the top half. Logan in the number 94, part-time driver for both the Monday and Tuesday night stretch. We've seen him actually get some good runs in, but most often he finds himself starting and parking and manning race control. We've got a small enough crowd where it looks like there's a better chance for Boomer to go out there and run the full race. Good to see for him, of course. An exciting circumstance where Logan's able to come out here and run, and not only that, but he's doing a great job running in P10 here and getting some good seat time and get some good air time for his number 94. And that, of course, being a throwback for the Bill Elliott Racing guys when Elliott was an owner driver. Right now, looks like Logan running one of his own, and he's doing really good, keeping Ross Cato at bay, as a matter of fact. And Cato, a championship contender. Strong as he's been all season long, it looks like right now he's got to go toe-to-toe against Nick Tarbuck, and right now he does not find himself winning that. Here comes Sam Nieto, though. Nieto has dropped back a little bit further, and Sam looks like he's dropping relative to Nate Campbell pretty hard. Third place overall, Nate Campbell. Then you got to look a little bit further back. Ross Cato going to be in 10th. Nieto is now in 11th. But of all championship contenders, as a wiggle from Boomer Logan, of all of your championship 5, who's running in last? Ethan Lane. Lane now finds himself 14th place after qualifying on the pole position. You can see here, he's got himself dropped way to the back of the field, and I think that's going to be, of course, intentional. Lane doesn't have much to fight for here when it comes to getting his car dirty and damaged. It's not going to be a do-or-die situation. Lane can afford fully just to lie back, get himself readied up for what's to come, and keep on battling. I don't think right now that Ethan Lane is in any sign of panic, or has given us any sign of panic, and I think that's going to be the same way it runs all night long for this number 16. Jacob Fife up to the top. Nate Campbell right to the bottom. Take a look now as Fife is looking in, and for the first time, Jacob's got a glimpse of the podium positions. 6th to 3rd on the day. That's a gain of 3 as he'll drop down low, duck to the bottom, and now come on his way out. Zach Schrintenel remains in 2nd, but nobody has yet been able to top the front man, Brian Yazek. Yazik has been above all else the best of the best in the opening portion of this race, and not only has he of course been able to get by Ethan Lane, although Lane looks like he dropped back very far, he has kept everyone far behind him. Now you gotta begin to wonder then, when does tire wear come in? Last time by, Brian Yazik ran a 30.539. That is about a second slower than his top time taken in qualifying. Qualifying laps were on average about a second slower than where the drivers are currently running right now, so over about 25 laps they've lost a second of pace. Under the assumption the drivers try to go at it for about a 65 lap run, which is about the max they can go even if they're saving fuel, Yazik would most likely lose at least another second and a half of pace before it's all said and done. If he decides to go for a 50 lap run, he still has another extra second of pace to lose over the course of this stint. And depending on what he's doing in the corners, we'll see how long he's really intending to go. Take a ride on board now with Brian Yazik. From what I'm hearing, and you can hear it as well, the engine is coming in loud and clear. Now, I would be surprised if that's the same for Ethan Lane. And now, we're going to take a closer look at what's going on for the Lane team. In 13th place, side by side for the lead. Hold on just a second. Zach Schrinthal setting it down to the bottom, and he's fighting for more. Dropping down for the lead for the first time tonight. Schrinthal got a real shot, and he'll duck back in line. Talking about Lane, here's a look back. Ethan is heading to corners 1 and 2. What do we hear? That's exactly what I expected. I don't hear anything. And that is fully intentional. Lane is deciding to clutch and coast, and I believe he's setting himself up for a one-stopper to try to go all the way. The engine cuts out. Lane will drive through and coast it and let the car just drift off its own momentum. And while he's significantly slower doing that, what he's doing is saving a lot of time. If you're saving through the entries of your corners, and you have 4 corners, let's say you save through the entry of them, so you're saving through about 1/8 of the track, maybe let's say a 10th, just to be a conservative estimate. Over the course of 10 laps, you're getting back 1 extra lap. So if you save for about 70 laps, then you're saving 7 extra laps on your fuel load. On average, or based on the safe estimates, these drivers can go about 60 laps on 1 fuel load. 1 full tank of fuel will get them about 60 laps, so they'll go halfway in a 120-mile race. Saving 7 extra laps is a 67 lap run. That's the exact halfway point of this race right here. So, every moment matters, every 10th matters, and every lap saved is going to get you that much closer. Coming across the line, Ethan Lane continues with this clutch and coast plan. Nobody else has, in any sense, nearly committed to the extent Ethan has to that program. And I think the fact it's such a unique thing is entirely by design. 33 laps in out of 134, Yazik and Schrinthal have gapped the field by a good 1/10 of a second. 10th to 3rd goes Nick Tarbuck. 11th to 4th goes Nicholas Ward. Woody Mahan 14th up to 5th. So he's got himself now gaining 9 places. Man, running inside the top 10. And not only that, now inside the top 5 in what could be his best race of the campaign. Take a look on board from the backside of Woody Mahan to see now what happens as Fife begins to put on the pressure. To the inside goes Mahan. Jacob Fife is now going to try to ring it around the corner on the outside. You'll see he takes it through for a little bit of a higher groove. Not a significant difference, but by all accounts now, You're starting to see him trend higher and higher. So 3 and 4, he was still in the frame, but you can see right there, right up against the wall as he'll head toward the Brant back straightaway. Single file now from Nick Tarbuck here down to Jacob Fife. That's a grouping of about a second or so. Not a lot of distance between them. Nick Tarbuck has also gotten up into third, so he's keeping these guys right behind in a smaller pack. Trentinel had one shot at the race lead. From that point onward, it looks like he has not yet been able to take another run in. He'll get up all the way up high. So now you're starting to see maybe tires saving more than fuel saving. Yazik splits it with, once again, Zach Trentinel, making some differences. Up at the head of the field, you got a gaggle of about, give or take, 5 drivers, then the 6th being Woody Mahan. These guys are separate by only a second and a half. Then Ross Cato runs alone, now in 7th. Sam Nieto has dropped back significantly, but Nate Campbell has come a little bit closer. Again, remember that Campbell and Sam Nieto are going directly head-to-head for a spot in the championship. And with Boomer Logan going by for 9th, now they're only separated by 1 position. Basically, whoever outfinishes who in this fight ends up taking that championship spot and finishes second in the title. So that's what's at stake as Sam Nieto ducks to the inside, keeping Ethan Lane behind. And now Nieto has the edge for the first time tonight. Sam Nieto for second in the championship. He'll get by and take 10th in this track, of course. P10 on the racing circuit. 39 laps in out of 134. John Stevenson, 19th to 13th. He is up 6 spots on the day, and he is set forth for another one this time by. Don, one of our biggest movers, 18th to 8th for Casey Shue, I believe is the biggest of all, and he has made up double digits to this point. So Casey Shue with the best race when it comes to going up the track. Don Stevenson not too far behind, and if he gets up there to as high as 9th, which is very achievable given where he is right now, he might just be able to go right toe for toe with Casey Shue. Side by side, Sam Nieto and Ethan Lane there. Lane is quickly able to get by Nate Campbell. Campbell dropping back. And while right now Nieto has a temporary buffer and some relief, it could change. Here comes Ethan Lane again, getting closer. 41 laps in out of 134. Watching and racing down the back straightaway. Up to the higher side, Lane is going to try to get that outer groove going, and you'd see now that the short-term loss of clutching and coasting is helping him. And that also because when you cut the engine, you're not putting a lot of power into the car, and you're just able to let it glide. You're not aggressively taking it one way or the other. So Ethan right now, even as he has some of his stuff saved, he can afford to push in with a little bit more power and be delicate at the same time, and that amazing balance is helping him gain spots. So, clutching and coasting, it basically freezes the amount of tire wear you're putting down. And so right now, as Lane comes up around these drivers and gets back into leading places again, it's as if all the speed that they lost has never left him. So now he's put both Nieto and Campbell back behind him once more. .43 laps in out of 134, less than 100 laps remaining. Halfway marker going to be in the mid-60s. These first laps, of course, where it all begins. Getting ourselves ready for the first green flag pit stop cycle. Nobody to this point has decided to go in, and here comes Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck to the inside. Again, Nick has been having a tremendous run, and if he ends up winning this race, he's got a shot at second in the title no matter where anyone else finishes here. He's trying to take some extra points away and finish this season off better than anyone else. In the round of 5, Tarbuck going for 2 wins would be a tremendous showing, and it shows both two things. Ethan Lane came in with a great points buffer, which reflected how well he did across the season, and it's a justifiable thing that he is the likeliest to win the title. Likewise, though, Nick Tarbuck has been able to take these playoffs and bend him to his own will. And if he gets himself another win tonight, it would really prove that he's one of those drivers who can race the system and exceed even when there are, of course, failures in his racing. Not to say that every race he's had is perfect, and of course, we mentioned last week was a rebound race after falling 45 points under the cut. A horrible marker, really is a horrible marker, and yet now he's only 2 points away from taking P4 in the title race, and not considerably far behind in terms of taking himself up to second in the championship, even with one dismal race counting him out. So to be in second right now is a big deal as he continues to chase down Zach Schrinkenal. "47 laps in, top three strung out now. They're the only within a second of your leader. You'll then have Jacob Fife, 6th up to 4th. 2 spots have been gained now from Fife, and you'll see now first-time drivers are heading into pit road. The two-stop strategy is in effect. Schrinkenal stays out, Nick Tarbuck, Nicholas Ward, and Jacob Fife all not quite. 48 laps in out of 134. Schrinkenal leads, Ethan Lane stays out, and now you've got yourself green flag strategy for the first time tonight. Splitting it about lap number 47 or 48. That's an indicator of committing to the two-stopper. Not a surprising call for the drivers who were up in front, including Cato and Nick Tarbuck, and of course Jacob Fife there. These are drivers who are looking to get themselves a solid race and guarantee it. To go for the one-stopper is a lot more of a risk, and now you're seeing the difference between the drivers who do and don't. Sam Nieto remaining on his way. Nick Tarbuck just coming off a pit road. The separation has started. Ethan Lane leads Casey Shue, and Boomer Logan now as your top three cautions out first time tonight. Brian Yazik is upside down! How did that happen? Yellow flag, watch this. 50 laps into the unthinkable has happened. Yazik has flipped. What happened to Jacob Fife? 2 cars airborne in the windy city. What just happened? Now, it begins with Fife taking this pit stop here. And this is going to be a pretty arduous watch. So we'll take a look at where Brian Yazik was. Yazik, well, he found himself 1 lap down, and now he's going to fall further back since he just went off a pit road. Yazik is making his way around. Jacob Fife at the very same time is exiting pit road, and somehow Fife, coming off a pit road, gets the speed to go up in the air and propel another driver into the air too. Loose, overcorrects. Wow, a tremendous wreck. Take a ride on board with Yazik through this one. Oh, and the motor blew. That is his race no matter what. And I can't even say can you blame him. Because what is there to do when a driver goes up in the air and blocks your line out of control? Yazik is on pit road. Ethan Lane is the leader out. He'll be followed by Casey Shue, Boomer Logan, Jared Davis, and Don Stevenson. So just like that, the field gets its first big pit stop cycle of the night. That is a ridiculous incident. It's not a ridiculous circumstance for Fife. I mean, anyone can get loose off a pit road, but what a spectacle. First off, Fife is in the air, and then Yazik goes upside down, which is something we have never seen at Chicagoland with the Next Gens anyway. And at speed off a pit road, both drivers are outright destroyed. Caution. Flies 51 laps in out of 134. Now we'll restart for the first time tonight at lap 53. Looks like a two-stop strategy fully in effect as everyone comes down to pit road last time by. So it's going to be a pretty uniform strategy race from this point onward. Double file again, Casey Shue, Sam Nieto, Don Stevenson working the inside. The outer groove has Ethan Lane, Jared Davis, and Bobby Keith. We'll go green again for our first restart of the night, and hopefully we can keep it green from here. A freak incident for Brian Yazik and Jacob Fife brings us under caution, with now 18 on the lead lap. If multiple drivers retire before this race is over, Ethan Lane will guarantee a top 20 finish and as such effectively guarantee a championship. Green flag's out, he'll take the lead again and he'll get to the outside like a rocket ship and move down low. Casey Shue is going to be second place, 18th to second now. And Don Stevenson, 19th to 5th. Josh Gallagher, 20th to 7th. And 21st to 8th is Randy Fiash. What a different top 10. And perhaps the biggest differences we've seen all throughout the night, the back half of the field has come alive, and now they're all together ahead. Nate Campbell drops low. He's going to get it there on Sean Kalist. Boomer Logan a little bit loose now, and you can see him wiggle up. That's going to give a much better shot for the 94 team to stay behind on Ross Caden. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to like it that way. Nicholas Ward, he'll defend on quick, and it is now double file, multiple grooves through at the head of the field. Take a look up top. Casey Shue holding down the fort, and he is staying in second. Not done yet. Keep on watching. It is all about the number 5 of Shue right here trying to hold it down. But Jared Davis gets to the high side, and he will try to take this Cinderella story and break the glass slipper, and do so fast. Side by side. Now, no longer. Jared Davis gets away. He gets out and in front. Oh, contact. Kalist up the track into Zach Schrintenal. Another caution. The yellow flag flies. Schrintenal and Kalist. And Sean goes around from what was just about 7th on track. Take a look at this. The caution flies, and it comes down to the 90 of Kalist loose with contact from Nate Campbell. Campbell takes him down the track, comes up. Campbell gets loose. Zach Schrintenal and, of course, Sean Kalist gets shot around. Nate gets away with minimal damage, but the number 20 of Schrintenal gets torn up big. Caution flies. Take a look back, this time focusing on the perspective from Sean Kalist. Kalist is now going to drop down to the 17th place after being as high as he's been all night long in the top 10 fight. Take a look on board. And just a quarter panel nudge did him in. Just a little nudge, and how quickly it makes a difference. Second caution of the day, 57 laps in out of 134. We're approaching halfway, and we'll restart at about lap number 60 here tonight. Ethan Lane holds down the fort on that restart. Now, with a few more laps being eaten away thanks to cautions, I don't think you're going to see a particularly aggressive fuel-saving strategy anymore. Everyone's gone for their first stop, and it means now that everyone needs to take a second. With that being said, what's going to happen now really just comes down to when drivers decide to come through. There's not going to be any urgency in doing so. And as such, it could be a very wide variety of times where drivers go in. You got lap 60 to lap 134. That is just about 75 laps to deal with. So the midway point of that is 37 or so laps from now. So anywhere from 95 to 100. That's right around where drivers would be expected to go down a pit road, just based on the traditional numbers, if they, of course, choose to abide by that. If they don't, you could see drivers heading in early for a longer final stint. Could see drivers heading in way late and trying to get the job done with a long stint and then about 25 laps to end the race. That's if we stay green, but it's very rare that drivers go for that longer. I think the undercut is going to be more likely, if anything. Top 6 drivers all went down to pit road at lap number 51 under caution. Nick Tarbuck slightly earlier at lap 48. Not enough to make a big difference, and so he'll stay in sync with everyone else. But I'm sure that in the long term, he'll be begging to get back with those guys who are on a very unified run. He's got a little bit more wear, and that will show as the night and the race progresses. Double file, Josh Gallagher remaining in the top 10, 20th up to 8th. Josh has gained now 12 spots. Biggest mover is still Casey Shue with 15, and not too far back is 14th, Don Stevenson, 14 spots gained from 19th on the grid to go P5. So 3 drivers have made up over a dozen spots in this race. Remarkable work from all of them. We'll get back to business with Ethan Lane holding down the fort and Jared Davis, who started alongside him on that front row, returning just about halfway through this race later. Back to work. Inside goes the iRacing official pace car. Ethan Lane jets out in front. Green flags out. Restart number 2 sees Lane against everyone, and yet he's with nobody in a world of his own. Casey Shue ducking down to the bottom, already trying to take second place back. These guys were battling just before the caution came out for this spot, and it looks like now, and convincingly, here comes Casey Shue. He'll take second place, and he'll bag that runner-up spot as the heart of the field gets close again, side by side by side. Nate Campbell to the inside with Bobby Keith running just to his outer groove. Now Ross Cato's getting up there again on Nick Tarbuck, something we haven't seen all night long. Cato in the best spot he's been in all throughout the night, and now he finds himself 7th to Nick Tarbuck in 6th. And with these two drivers where they are right now, Nick would actually not take over where Ross is in points, and so he's in a spot where right now, honestly, he's got a disadvantage. Rare to say so far in this race, but Tarbuck now is locked into 5th in points just because of how close Ross Cato is to him. The distance matters. Meanwhile, Sam Nieto and Nate Campbell, the battle that keeps on giving. And right now, as they go against each other, well, you can see one thing is very, very clear. Nieto has the advantage. First 35 laps, it was all about Nate Campbell. Campbell had himself the edge, he had himself the position, and he had it there by a considerable margin. Right now, not at all the case. And I think that's something that you got to look out for, those sways, those backs and forth. And right now, we've got one that is very substantial if you've been watching since the beginning of this race. Campbell qualified in 3rd, and he ended up, of course, going down 8th where he is right now. Sam Nieto 5th up to 4th, so while he was out-qualified, right now he is not being outraced, and that's what counts when the going gets rough. Checkered flag due to fly in about 70-some laps from this point on the 2025 Octane Series season. This is it, the last opportunity for any one driver to succeed or fail. And as they run, So far, Ethan Lane has proven to do exactly what he's done all throughout the season. Keep on succeeding no matter what's going on around him. And I like that about Ethan Lane, of course, as a driver, but I think that's been the most important thing that drivers have not been able to find out yet. How does he succeed everywhere? An 11-time race winner, 13-time pole sitter, and he's got the shot tonight to make it, of course, a dozen wins. 12 victories, and for the second consecutive season, hitting that marker. He is above all else in terms of the stats, and that would make it 21 wins in the Integrity Racing League this year. Ridiculous how good he goes at it. 65 laps in out of 134. Got the lead by 3/10. Casey Shu is maintaining in second, and what a way it would be to end his season after a podium last week in the Ignite Series. A chance to go for one more top three and finish off this race with, of course, his best ever Octane Series finish. Casey Shu looking calm and collected right now, and he surely has himself the stuff. Jared Davis, P3. Watch on board now with Davis as he tries to chase after again Casey Shu. Davis across the line, not too much further back on Casey Shu again, but it's single file and we go green. What we've seen so far throughout the night is it's become increasingly trickier to go out there and make spots up. I mean, passing is tricky when it comes just down to dirty air, and I think it's a more difficult issue to consider that as the night gets longer and longer. Jared Davis is the perfect example, nudging way high, Sam Nieto! Oh, what a drift! Out of 4, he'll get very lucky. Sam Nieto pull it back a lap, and watch this. He could have overcorrected as easy as ever, and that could have brought to the entire field the demise of the entire green flag run. Watch this. Again, Sam Nieto with a remarkable job saving it, but it was an aggressive move on Davis there, and it's going to cost him. Drops him down to 15th, as a matter of fact. So relative now to Nate Campbell, he is far behind. And for second in the championship, a moment like that is bad news. Luckily, he'll save it. At least it's minimal damage. It's tire scuffing. That can be recovered from, and that's something he can put back together as the night goes on. Nicholas Ward goes up high. Drop to the bottom goes Jared Davis. 65 laps to go. Ross Cato right now has been separated again from Nick Tarbuck, so Tarbuck gets the edge over the number 12. And watch what happens as well with Sam Nieto being in 15th place. Sam, as it runs, is going to be far enough behind on Nick Tarbuck where he's in jeopardy of losing P3 in place. Tarbuck needs to have the night of his life. Basically do what he did last week to guarantee second in the championship, but maybe there's a realistic shot right now when he goes out there and takes third. Of course, it's hard to keep everyone at bay, and Nate Campbell's had himself a solid night, but to cut his losses and gain 2 spots in this final race of the championship would be more than enough, of course, to keep on proving that Tarbuck has the stuff, even though, of course, that one bad night hampered him. P3 is a great recovery run when it comes to points. Nate Campbell stays right now second in the championship as they roll with 63 laps to go. Ethan Lane is, well, he's about as firmly the leader of the title race as he was when this night started. So, honestly, nothing has changed. Don't expect much to become different as the night progresses either. As long as Ethan Lane finds himself in his groove, he is nearly impossible to shake. Coming across the line with 62 laps to go. More than half of this race said and done. We're in the mid-70s, so about 20 laps time now until the estimated final green flag pit stop cycle. 18th to 2nd, Casey Shu. 19th to 3rd, Don Stevenson. Keep in mind that both of those drivers are in your podium right now as we take a look at Don Stevenson right here in P3. This is the best that Don has run all throughout the night. and a ridiculous amount of gain from both of these drivers who have been able to put together a cumulative jump. I mean, they're both identical. They've gone from 18th to 19th, so they were together to start, and now they're second to third. I mean, 18 spots gained, and it's going to be twice over. So over 35 spots jumped from these two drivers in a 21-car field. And just these two. And they're in the podium, no less, the highest spots on the circuit. It's a lot harder when there's fewer drivers, and yet they're putting down, perhaps together, some of the most impressive hard charger racing we've seen all of this season. And they're doing it both at the same time in our final race of the year. Tarbuck would like to join the fun, however, and enter the podium in his own terms. Nate Campbell to the inside. He's trying to take away that idea of fun. While Tarbuck was putting down the pressure first, it looks like Campbell's going to get right to him. So a contested fight for the top three all over again. Ross Cato, Jared Davis, also there. Side by side, Nate Campbell now getting to the outside of Tarbuck. That's going to be a swap over fast as Tarbuck goes high and gets the spot. Ross Cato in the number 12. You watch him here. Cato side by side with Jared Davis. Davis low. Four drivers ahead. Single file and a minor gaggle. Then you got Casey Shue alone in second, and then Ethan Lane. Tarbuck right now has his eyes fully fixated on Don Stevenson, and he's getting closer and closer while Don Stevenson is dropping further and further back into the clutches of the rest of this field of fights. Look on board, and the 47 is slowly but surely getting clawed away at. And so quickly does Stevenson go from being caught up to being fully caught in the mix. Just like that, Don down to 6th, now might fall back to 7th as Nick Tarbuck takes 3rd and brings himself up as Nicholas Ward goes side by side with Nate Campbell. Coming to the outside of the highest section of the track, Nicholas Ward. And Ward's going to use it to his advantage, and he will take the spot. Not an easy spot to be put into, of course. And yet Campbell and Ward alike are going to go side by side and keep it together. In one piece, Ward, Campbell, identical placement right now, practically identical position, and neither of them have quit. And I think that's going to be, of course, the best part of these final battles, even if it's not for the championship. This is it. Leave it all on the line and go back next season in February. You've got months away from this point henceforth. So I think that's going to give these drivers the ample incentive to really battle for what they've got right now. 54 to go. Nicholas Ward keeping Jared Davis at bay. Davis in P5. Nicholas Ward is going to find himself 4th in the running. Now, Nick Tarbuck, of course, has also gotten by, and he's perhaps gotten away the best of all else as he finds himself running in 3rd. Tarbuck is a strong competitor, outright. But what I gotta wonder right now is how aggressive is he going to make these spots up fast before the tire wear catches up to everyone? And it is going to catch up to everyone. It's not just going to catch up to the guys you're looking at right now. I think it's going to come down to the next few laps where you'll see drivers begin to drop back ever so slightly, and then they're going to head down to pit road. The ultimatum is ahead of us right now, and how drivers behave in the next coming laps will dictate the rest of this race. Tarbuck, perhaps as fierce as he was to get up there, is going to have to face the consequence of those drivers now having enough saved to go at him again. Nicholas Ward might see Jared Davis go at him first, and there's the alternate possibility. They might just go at each other before it all gets said and done. Side by side, Don Stevenson and Woody Mahan, that's for 8th. Stevenson wiggles high. Mahan that time by able to take it, keep it, and he will lock it up to keep 8th place on the running order. 13th to 7th, gaining 6 places, goes the Fast Forward Esports Ford Mustang. Ross Cato right now is in a great spot, of course, to keep himself at least in the fight with Nick Tarbuck, although Tarbuck is going to grab second. Casey Shue had a big bobble, and he's going to fall outside of the podium. Watch what happened with Casey as the underdog run of the night might have just met its biggest hurdle. Casey now in 8th. To the inside of 1 and 2. On the way up. Just loose attitude. Driver, self-inflicted error. And he saves it. Does a wonderful job at that. But it looks like even still, it's not going to work out. .50 laps to go. Ethan Lane, Nick Tarbuck, Jared Davis, 2nd to 3rd. The podium fixed up and changed all over again. Davis and Tarbuck have both entered. That leaves Nicholas Ward and Nate Campbell right on the outside of it. Sam Nieto runs in 14th while Nate Campbell, one to the inside. That is, looking at it, Bobby Keith gets away. And the call on the field has not yet been made. 1 down to the inside of the track, and the yellow flag is not out. Matt Sizzler, the 93, take a look at this. So Sizzler, side by side with Tom Wetmore, up the track. Maybe a little bit of nose from Wetmore helping him out in the way low. But luckily, Sizzler gets away with minimal damage. Take a ride on board with Tom Wetmore. Was there contact, or was that just a horrible case of arrow push? Definitely contact. Started as arrow loose, and I don't think Tom Wetmore could have done anything nearly fast enough to stop anything. Ethan Lane in a 1 and 2 again. Nick Tarbuck 2 seconds back in P2. And you could see Ethan Lane is in his own zip code tonight. As symbolic as it gets of the entire season, I think this is the perfect way for Ethan Lane to wrap up his campaign. There's no other way to put it. Lane has been like this, the best of the best, since his debut in the Integrity OCTANE Series in 2023. We'll get to that later on, of course, in the night, but he's been part-time or unable to take the championship in previous instances and previous races. And of course, last season, it came down to him competing to become Coke Series eligible. He achieved that. Ran a Coke Series race. And he is now one of the very few select drivers who could say that this year he's run with the best of the best on iRacing as a whole. What's next to come, of course, we don't know for Ethan Lane. He might just have a chance to make himself a full-time competitor in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but if not, he at least has been finally given the perfect opportunity to really show what he's got and flex his muscle as a full-on championship contender here in the Octane Series. Ross Cato right up there with Nate Campbell. And Woody Mahan has been able to keep them both in a very tight circumstance. The battle has not yet finished. To the inside goes Mahan again. Woody looking for his best finish on the campaign, and a top 5 is now only tenths away from him. .43 laps to go. Double file now. Ross Cato with Nate Campbell. Cato getting a better shot now at the inside of 1, and he's got it made. Nate Campbell ducks to the bottom. 3rd to 6th for Campbell on the day. So he's dropped 3. Ross has gone up 8, and he's one of the biggest movers of your championship, guys. Nick Tarbuck still just has the edge over Campbell, of course, and of course, it's Ross Cato and Tarbuck going at each other. If Nick is to win, he'll have a very good shot at going second in the title. Again, that's going to be the ceiling for the number 4 team. Ross Cato keeping him close makes it a lot more challenging. Look behind, Campbell, Mahan, then you got Casey Shue, Tom Wetmore 16th to 9th, and then Bobby Keith. So right now, 7 seconds separating your top 10, 15 on the lead lap. Sean Kalis, the last of which. Don Stevenson, though, is going to go 1 lap down as it looks like he finds himself now the first driver to go down and in for pit road this time by. With 40 laps to go, you got to start watching out. Woody Mahan, likewise, has decided to drop in. And so your final green flag cycle of the season has just begun. Ethan Lane here, still waiting to go in. And now the calls on the field are going to be quick to be made. 40 laps remaining. Wetmore making the call. 16th to 8th for the number 51. Tom Wetmore's got the drop, and he'll beat many a driver to pit road. And he's got himself in. Final time tonight for Tom Wetmore. And very quickly, he drops in alone. Most of the field is still not yet gone through. Ethan Lane stays out, as does the majority of the pack around him. Mahan, the last driver to officially give the signal. And so it doesn't look like anything else is going to change. 38 laps to go. Drivers can extend it up to about 10 more laps as Wetmore now gets off of pit road. Nate Campbell, more the same. Sean Kalis here. Zach Strintenall, no dice. Ethan Lane, first to first on the night. No difference there. I think now that everyone's really settled in, the only possible difference would come through this pit road run, which we are still waiting to see. Casey Shue has settled in and remained in the top 10, but unfortunately that one big slip, the worst thing that could have happened. And I think that's what jeopardized what almost looked to be a guaranteed top 3 run. And now it's going to be running on the way back for a shot to finish in the top 5. Doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. It's still very possible, but at the same time, the difficulty becomes what can happen now for Casey Shue with the distance that he's behind. He's 5 seconds back on leader Lane, and moreover, he's about 2.5 back on where Ross Cato is. So Casey right now is rather isolated, even though he's at the head of the field. I don't think he's got the stuff to really get himself up there unless he gets pulled on the way, and he needs some company to do so. Without company, really nothing you can do. And unfortunately, he's rather lonely as they run. "35 laps to go. 1 to pit road, and a notable, that's Ethan Lane making his final stop of the season. Ethan dropping in with 35 laps to go. And that's at the end of a 48-lap stint. So he goes just about 50, as he did to begin with. 4 tires and fuel for Lane. Nick Tarbuck, this time by, opts to stay out. Jared Davis, not quite. Davis down and in. Ward remains on the circuit. Ross Cato also does. Casey Shue here too. So Nick Tarbuck, as a result, is now going to take this race lead, and it looks like as Lane decides to go for a little bit of an undercut, it's instead going to be Tarbuck trying to hold it out to go against him for the race win. The last-ditch effort of any driver now is finishing it off and going toe-to-toe on an alternate strategy call. We'll see if Lane dictates the rest of the field, and if they all come down from here. Davis now getting his service. Tarbuck is as well. Nick enters, so does Nicholas Ward. Sam Nieto also coming in. Davis, of course, on the way out. So the top 5 and the top 10 completely shift. Bobby Keith, Boomer Logan, both staying out. Ross Cato is now your leader. And the longest of all, he is the biggest holdout. To the inside comes Cato. Ross drops in, and now Casey Shue's got himself the lead again. Casey Shue getting some laps led from 18th, mind you, on the night. in a remarkable race. One of the best that he has, of course, put together in all of his Integrity Racing League action. For the second time tonight, we've got a caution during our green flag cycle. Yellow is out. Caution flies. What happened to bring it out, though? That's the big question, as the yellow flag is out again. And now, for the third time tonight, drivers were still going at speed at this moment, then began to back it down. Yellow flag flying, and trying to see as smoke was billowing through 3 and 4. We'll back it up a lap, and we're giving you the overhead view just so we can figure out when and where exactly this incident happened. One driver slid on pit road. That doesn't seem the cause for concern, and that was Matt Sizzler, mind you. So rolling back the tape, drivers heading into turns 3 and 4 were those of worry. Race control putting out the yellow flag once again. This is your third time on the night, and these green flag pit stops have been the cause now for 2 of them. Yellow flag with 31 laps to go, and you'll see here momentarily when exactly that happened. Everyone was coming through a green flag pace, and we're still looking for when the caution lights came out, because that's going to officially signal what prompted this. Matt Sizzler appears to be the driver who was in jeopardy at that moment, and we'll pull it back to show you his incident, as he had himself a problem on the way out of pit road. You see right now he's back on pit road as we find ourselves cycling one more time. There's Casey Shue, Bobby Keith, and Boomer Logan. 30 laps to go. So we are under yellow with the field assembled again. Ethan Lane leading with the pace car. However, he has not yet scored as your front runner. A little bit of time until we go green again, so before we do, we're going to take it non-stop with some promotional messages from the people who make FTN Broadcasting possible. 30 laps to go, and less than that when we return. So before the final stretch of the season, we're going to give you some caution coverage. On the right side of your screen, you'll see these guys getting ready to go at it, and we'll return with 1 lap to green. Stay with us on FTN. We'll be right back after this.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
Welcome to the Underdog Racing Podcast, where we talk to NASCAR drivers from all over the great country of America. Each week, we chat about the latest races, share stories from the track, and get to know the drivers behind the wheel. We break down the action, hear from drivers about their experiences, and dive into what drives them to keep racing. Whether you're a longtime NASCAR fan or just curious about the sport, this is the place for you. So tune in to the Underdog Racing Podcast, your inside look at the world of NASCAR. Catch us every Wednesday at 6:30.
The field still just coming together as with 28 laps to go, we are back in business. Green flags out, and here we go again. Ross Cato this time with the advantage as he'll take him into 1 and 2. Casey Shue is back in second. It's a different looking bunch at the head of the field, and we are set back to business. Going at it again. Ross Cato advantageous. Take a look behind and you'll see the Hornet's Nest coming together. Double file Bobby Keith and Casey Shue side by side against one another, and now they'll be taking it down the back straight at over 190 miles an hour. Chicagoland with speeds that tap 200. Remember again, it's close quarters and every position counts. Cato with the edge side by side no longer. He's got himself up and ahead of the field. Ross Cato 13th up to first. 18th to second for Casey Shue right now. He's got himself 16 spots up on where he began. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Bobby Keith drops low, and here again comes Ethan Lane looking for more. Sideways, not quite, but it is another side-by-side joust. 3 wide across the line, and just barely, Lane gets himself to break. Advantageous Ethan Lane, that's for second. Ross Cato for the first time tonight getting an opportunity to lead some laps and take the moment at center stage. Can he finish it and take his final win of the year? Of course, it would be his one and only, but does he have enough time and does he have the distance? Ethan Lane has been all-encompassing all night long. Not a driver in this field has been able to run away from him. That's undoubtable. We've seen it time and time again. What's it going to take now to finish the job for Lane? Maybe it's just going to take the time he has. Side by side. Oh, it's Bobby Keith. And right with them, a little bit of contact from Casey Shue. Matt Sizzler now in the mix. He'll go to the outside. Here comes Tyler Hensley, of course, in the 5. Swap today with Casey Shue. The Monday night is Hensley. The Tuesday is Shue. Now they're toe-to-toe again. Tyler takes the Monday night in the 5, Casey Shue in the 4. That's the way it's been. Hensley's 5 now drops back, and Sizzler gets around for 4th. With 22 laps to go, it's about a time as we come up to that 22 lap to go point that we crank it up. Thanks to our friends at Whiplash SimCams, we got the best camera angles in all of simulation racing, and we've had them all year long. From 2025 and beyond, we'd like to thank our friends at Whiplash SimCams for making it possible. Any broadcaster can try out their work for as little as no cost at all. Check out their Discord server for free camera packs. If you like it, it's yours. No licensing fees, just $5 per car, per track. Thank you for tuning in live on FTN Broadcasting with 22 to go. Let's crank it up from Chicagoland for the final time this season. Side by side for the lead before we do so. Lane to the inside, dropping down. And as textbook as it's been all year long, Lane wants that lead. Sideways, not quite. Lane in full control, coming onto the outside. Cato in the wall, brushes it, still toe-to-toe. 21 laps to go through 3 and 4. Just like that, Lane gets it up high, and he is clear. Now, new race leader, let's crank it up with 20 laps remaining. Ethan Lane, with 15 laps to go on the season, is seeing the sun set in Chicagoland. You might have noticed that the sun begins to go down a little bit more and more each passing lap. And while it doesn't look like we're going to see the nighttime skies, it definitely is a different look to end the night here in Joliet. Thank you for stopping by, Nancy Wetmore, in the chat room, and of course wishing us a happy off season as we come toward the very last moments of this Integrity Racing League Tour. 60 races we've been on for the Ignite and Octane Series, and we're looking to come back on Tuesday nights next year, and it's always a pleasure to have some of the best racing on iRacing with these drivers always putting in their all, so hopefully we'll have many of our same viewers coming back, including you as well. 14 laps to go. Jared Davis side by side with Ross Cato, and Cato has been able to make it all happen in the last moments of this night, and that looks like it's going to be the overturn between he and Nick Tarbuck. Tarbuck, through the first half, has now come together. Of course, still in the top 5 race, anyhow, in 6th here. It's not a long shot to go out there and take P5, but it still doesn't look like it's going to be a certainty for Tarbuck anyway to outdo Ross Cato in points. Cato having a tremendous night tonight is going to help out immensely. Sam Nieto right now, the number 2, runs in 12th. Nate Campbell in 9th, and it looks like Ross is going to be able to do perhaps not just maintaining in 4th, but maybe take at least a spot back. Ross isn't all too far back on Sam nor Nate Campbell, and right now comes in with an 8-point deficit to the both of them. He is currently more than 8 spots ahead of Sam Nieto, and so it looks like Ross might be in the mix to take 3rd in the title race when it's all said and done in 11 laps time. Jared Davis, 3rd to 2nd here, of course. It could be 2nd to 2nd. Let's see what happens now. Dropping down low for Davis. Ten laps remaining on the season. Ethan Lane watching now as the battle for P2 develops. Fast Forward Esports team, 2nd of the championship in 2023. Of course, it's a driver and team combination that's been with us consistently since the beginning. To start it all off was Cato, of course, going up against Seth Noel. Today, it's going to be up against the likes of Ethan Lane and Nick Tarbuck, and still a top 5 championship finish for a driver who has redefined what it means to get it done when it matters most. Won when it mattered in 2023 to advance point by point the opportunity he's been able to come through, even when maybe this team's had its back against its wall more than any other. Remarkable. And Cato right now just looking to finish it off and keep it in the podium as Jared Davis goes for 2nd. 17th to 4th, Matt Sizzler now sits as your biggest mover with 13 spots gained. Matt Sizzler, for all the faults of his race, and remember, he went down to the inside in the grass and nearly got himself ran over. As it stands, he's got himself a great race to look back on, but can he get to the podium and maybe make it his best ever? He's not too far back, and Cato dropping to 2nd, of course, dropping the 2nd spot to 3rd. He's got a better shot here. The gap is still about 0.6 of a second with 7 laps remaining. Lap over lap, the numbers indicate it is a close fight. Matt Sizzler being a 10th faster than Ross Cato that time by. Six laps remaining. Nick Tarbuck, 10th to 6th on the day, gaining 4. If Ross drops back any further, you could see a much different battle in even 2 laps if they get close. Ross has enough of a track position buffer that I think it's going to save him, and Tarbuck is still going to have himself dropping back. Nicholas Ward, 11th up to 7th. Casey Shue, 18th to 8th, and even though it looks like the podium running hasn't figured itself out for Shu. No longer does it look like it's going to be a bad race either, even though he got some damage on the right side. Casey Shu has survived. Tom Wetmore watching right behind, looking to get up there again. Wetmore, the only one of our Roadhouse Racing drivers to finish off the season, and it looks like a top 10 and comfortably should be achievable. Jared Davis might just try to go out here and take this win. He's a tenth and a half away with 4 laps remaining. Here we go. 4 laps remaining, coming to 3 next time by. Jared Davis now needs to make up the better part of 2 tenths in 4.5 miles. Through 5th gear, full on. Now, nothing left in the tank. This is what it means to race for a season finale. You can't leave anything on the line. There are no other expectations, and there is no next week. If Jared Davis wants to pull it together, he's got to put 110% into every corner, every final segment, and of course, these last 2 laps. 2 laps to go from Chicagoland. Ethan Lane all but locking up the championship. And now, it just comes down to whether or not Lane can hold on for the win. 2 laps to go. Ducking to the inside. Jared Davis has a shot, and it'll be side by side, coming to the white flag. Davis low. Ethan Lane right up top. Ross Cato watching and waiting in the wings. Ethan Lane, for the first time all throughout this night, looks challenged under green. He'll get the run on the outside as Davis just barely sneaks through, and he's got it down low. Door to door, banging into turn 3. Jared's got one more lunge and one final opportunity. The 6 up high, the 19 right down low. Lane wiggles ever so slightly, but for the 12th time this season, Ethan Lane is a winner from Chicagoland, the winningest ever driver in Octane Series history. 2 consecutive 12-plus win seasons and a record-smashing 13 poles on the campaign. Not only is Ethan Lane tonight's race winner, Ethan Lane is the 2025 Integrity OCTANE Series champion. The best of the best. From the beginning of this season to the very end, there was no topping Ethan Lane. And he had to earn it tonight, as he did all season, and he proves exactly why he is your champion. Lane burns it down from Chicagoland. With an unbelievable amount of victories this season across both the Monday and Tuesday night tours, 21 to be exact, Ethan Lane is second to none. The best that we have seen in the Integrity Racing League's modern era. I don't think there's any debate of that. Making it to the final round in both championship races, and with ease walking through the last round of the Octane Series. Tonight he came in with a 29-point gap, but he raced as if there was nothing except a winner-go-home mentality. And against Jared Davis, he proved tonight that he would not go home empty-handed. But I guess he'll have both hands full as he comes away with a race-winning trophy and the championship trophy alike. Coming up toward the start-finish line, beginning in February and ending today, Ethan Lane takes one last tour, the racing circuit in the 2025 Octane Series. A fast pass to pit road, and the season is over. Ethan Lane, your champion, will celebrate as the championship, of course, goes his way. The title is his. We'll be right back with post-race results and your champion's interview. Stay tuned on FTN. We'll return after the following message from iRacing.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
In addition to taking the pole and winning tonight, Ethan Lane also led the most laps, 75 of which to finish the night on top to win the 2025 championship. Jared Davis led not a lap tonight, not one, and yet he came oh so close to finishing this season finale as a winner. He comes home P2, 64,000's back on the top spot. Then you'll have Ross Cato in third to round out the season with a podium, Matt Sizzler in fourth, and Bobby Keith P5. Nicholas Ward, Nick Tarbuck, Casey Shue goes ninth to Tom Wetmore's eighth. Woody Mahan wraps up the top 10. Last drivers on the day see Nate Campbell in 11th, Sam Nieto 12th, Boomer Logan 13th, and Don Stevenson 14th as Sean Kalis, Josh Gallagher, Zach Strintenel, and John DeBarro go down to 18th. Randy Fiash and Brian Yazik wrap up the top 20. 21st and last on the night, Jacob Fife, 86 laps down. The checkered flag has flown on the season. Ethan Lane, not only a winner, but a champion, and the perfect combination to end an illustrious two-season stretch. It began in 2024, winning the most races, but being ineligible to compete for the championship as he left the series for the NASCAR Contender Series in professional sim racing ranks. And yet this year, things worked out where he was with us for all season on Tuesday nights, and this race was the perfect example of why exactly, Ethan, you came away with the championship, a thrilling race win, and of course, you've got it. The title is yours for 2025.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. We got one of these titles finally. That was a fun race. You could actually pretty much go wherever you wanted. Um, Being able to run by the wall, run on the bottom, just finding a lane that works for you. And yeah, no, I'm happy that we were able to actually win it too. Um, like win the championship and win the race. That was the goal coming in here tonight. To cap off what an incredible season we've had. 13 poles, 13 wins. So almost a guarantee every race we start from the pole we're gonna win. But yeah, no, fun night, fun race. We had I think 2 or 3 cautions tonight, all during green flag stops too. But that kind of threw another wrench into things and how we ran it. So yeah, no, just glad to come home with the victory and the championship.
And before even talking about that final, of course, run, or rather, we'll get there first before talking about the season. You had to work for it at the end. You and Jared Davis right at each other, and you didn't give it at all, of course. This didn't really matter when it came to the points for you to win, but you made it seem that this was the do or die.
Yeah, yeah, no, Jared, cannot speak. Jared raced me clean, so I raced him clean back. It was fun. I thought he was gonna get me into 3, but I sent it, got back to the throttle, and went over that bump where it usually bottoms out. It stuck and got us rotated. Yeah, I drove the tires off trying to get around Ross. Um, that's how Jared was able to get back to me. But it was fun racing him all year. We were trying to play I guess the same strategy early. We were trying to save fuel, and then I realized, oh crap, we probably can't make it to halfway. So I was like, all right, let me just go. And when I did, we were like 2-3 tenths faster than the leaders at that point, but we were too far back. So yeah, overall fun race. Like I said, can't say enough about everyone in this league. Um, Especially with the draft, how everything worked tonight. We were just all over each other.
Close racing from beginning to end, and of course, 13th pole, 12th win. The numbers are unbelievable. When you look at it from top to bottom, this season comes out to be, I would say, more impressive perhaps than even your 2024 performance. The competition level rose, and you still were head and shoulders above when it came to just about every important number and statistic through and through. Looking back on the season, of course, you feel you exceeded your goals. Did you meet them? What was it like? Of course, the whole process is now behind you. You're a champion. How does it feel with that in mind?
Looking back, granted, looking back on the season, there's a lot of stuff you can say you'd have done differently. I don't know. I felt like we could have won probably 3 or 4 more if they worked out in our favor. Darlington was one of them where we blew an engine into three because I forgot what gear I was in. Um, Rockingham one where I wrecked out early. Indy, me and Blake racing really hard. Just there's just the Roval. So there's 4 right there. I felt like I probably could have won to cap off a really amazing year by winning half the races, but we'll come back stronger next year to hopefully try to achieve that goal.
The end goal, perhaps as you mentioned it exactly there, do it all over again. 2026 coming only a few months away. You see yourself coming back full time?
Oh, for sure. Um, I thought I was contemplating on the pro or road to pro stuff and everything, but I think I think I'm done with all that. So we're here to have fun, here to race with everyone, um, here to try to train everyone, or not really train, but help everyone get better. Um, we do have a driver uh, program coming up in the off season. Me and a couple other guys are gonna uh, help everyone else out who isn't quite where they probably want to be, but we're gonna try to see what we can do with them, and hopefully the competition's even better than this year.
Putting the work in off season, Ethan Lane, a winner and a champion in 2025. Is there anything else, of course, you'd like to add? Of course, I mean, a great abundance of accomplishments. The wins, the title, it's all yours. If you have anything else you'd like to say, we'd love to let you have it.
Just like always, this one. Just thank you for putting on these broadcasts, David. It's been fun year going back and watching them all. Um, Everyone over at Integrity, fun season. Hopefully it gets even better with next year. And just this one is for my dad who passed away about 8 years and 1 month, almost to the day. So this one's for him. But yeah, no, we'll enjoy it tonight. We'll look forward to next year.
Ethan Lane, a spirited drive, and not only that, it's the culmination of months and months, and if you look back to last year, years of work. What a job and what a season. Congratulations on your championship, and we hope you have, of course, a great night on your way out here.
Thank you, David. Have a good one too.
Ethan's on his way. He's your winner tonight, and Jared Davis remains an outright ghost. We don't know where we can reach him, but he gave a hell of a run to Ethan Lane. And so we'll move forth to your next driver on the podium, Ross Cato, who much like last time we saw guys going at it for the championship with the Next Gens, Cato steps up to the plate and turns the first half, which was trickier, into a great finish, 13th to 3rd, and a podium to end 2025, Ross.
Yeah, it's a great way to round it out. I think this is a great car track combo, and with that, I'm glad we closed out the season with this. Didn't really know what to expect tonight with fuel conservation. I opted to do the two-stopper, but as we saw, there were some kind of race-changing things that happened, and glad that although I was on pit road when the caution came out and I didn't really know what was happening, I was able to inherit the lead and race for the win.
And all of it came down to the late race going. The first half, as we mentioned, a completely different run for you. When it came to pace, did it largely just come to switching up your strategy, you feel?
Yeah, I was just taking it easy and just trying to whiff at different lines and see how they fared. I figured out as the race went on that if I had some courage on the top lane in 3 and 4 with that bump, then I could gain a little bit more speed. I was able to use that to my advantage to get a little bit closer to Ethan Lane and Jared Davis at the end, but it just wasn't enough. But all in all, a really fun race, and I'm really glad for how it panned out tonight.
And not only that, of course, it ends your season on a high note, and your second season in the past 3 that we've had where you finished top 5 in points. Ross, you've had a tendency to rise to the occasion when it matters most, but you did it a little bit differently this season. So how does it feel returning to this point, of course, with a lot having changed?
Yeah, I would prefer not to be the guy who's just under the radar and then kind of wiggles his way into the next round, but I guess that's just how it happened. This wasn't like the kind of walk off that I had 2 years ago. And last season, when we were racing the Gen 4 cars and I made the final 5, I was the slowest of the 5 in that final championship race. But I do think that guys like Brad Patton and Zach, the 20 car, I think they would have been better to have this spot. I think they would have performed a lot better, but alas, it was me, and I'm glad I could race wheel to wheel with Ethan Lane and Jared Davis. Not just in a championship conversation, but right down to the wire at the end of the season.
And another season making it count when it mattered most. Consistency has been the theme of these past seasons for the Ross Cato crew. And of course, Ross, next year, we already start talking about it as soon as this one ends. Are there any goals set immediately for 2026?
Well, I didn't know when I was going to break this, but since you asked, I really don't have any plans for next season. We'll probably be doing a part-time at best, and that's saying something. Things are just really hectic with my career, and I'm a father now, and things are just, they're taking up time, and I'm probably going to have to put racing to the side reluctantly, but I'll likely still be racing in special events in the official side, and of course maybe some NIS races. But as far as Integrity goes, I really don't have any plans set just yet. Being on the East Coast is pretty difficult with these races. With the sleep that I need to get with my schedule, it's not really that conducive when you're staying up until 10:30 and 11 p.m. But yeah, I guess I'm just getting old too. But I've had a great time racing with these guys, and a lot of them are really close friends now. And yeah, we'll just see what the circumstances yield, and I might be back, and we'll be having a different conversation, and yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Ross Cato, of course, these past few full-time seasons have seen tremendous performances out of your crew at Fast Forward Esports, and you end on a high note. 3rd place from Chicagoland. If there's anything else you'd like to add, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you to my wife for putting up with me and giving me these Tuesday evenings to do this. I love you, sweetie, and I'm just so grateful for the family support that I have. Thanks to Galen Goodman, my friend and teammate. He couldn't be here tonight. He's working on something for work. Tomorrow, he's launching something for his job. Let's see. The admins, thank you to y'all for such an even-handed and professional way that you run this league. And thank you to the competitors. It's been just such a thrill, and it's just been great to learn from guys like Nick Tarabuck, Ethan Lane, Nick Ward. Um, there's so much to be learned with how they wheel a race car. And thank you to you for putting on such thrilling broadcasts. And it's always great to share these. And um, I couldn't have this, level of excitement and sustain it for as long as you do, but you pull it off. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I wish everybody a wonderful holiday season. And yeah, blessings to you all and your families.
Ross Cato, what a way to bow out from this season. Third place on the circuit and finishing again with top 5 honors from the 2025 Integrity OCTANE Series. Congratulations on the run, and thank you for your time, Ross.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
With Ross Cato on the move, we'll send it back to your last place finisher, Jacob Fife. We spoke to him last night, and I figure it's best if we get him in one more time, only because tonight is the night. Well, of course, it ends on Tuesday nights, and we do know that next year anyway, we will see the Integrity OCTANE Series back once again. Let's make sure Jacob Fife is with us here, because we're intending to bring him in, and let's just make sure he's on the same page with us, as we just got a little bit of a hesitation. There we go now. Jacob Fife in the broadcast booth. And of course, tonight, 21st, and at the back of the grid. But we want to speak to you because we know for a fact 2026, the Tuesday night tour, will return. And of course, everyone's excited to know that that's up next on the calendar for the Integrity Racing League.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to getting back at it on Tuesday nights. We had a really great year this year. Had a few unfortunate things happen to some people not able to make it out for the last race, but had a great year this year. Some great participation, as you can tell from tonight's race. Some really great racing as well. That was a good battle between Ethan and Jared there to finish out our year. Some really good stories in the top 5 as well for some guys getting a good top 5 finish. But yeah, looking forward to 2026. Looking forward to announcing hopefully some more cool stuff of what we're doing, and gonna probably generally be the same type of format, like race distance wise and things like that. But yeah, more info to come for sure, and we're happy to carry on for our 14th year next year, which is pretty incredible to say that we've been at it this long. But just speaks to the help I have with our admin team, and obviously the members who come out each and every week to make it possible.
A tremendous season, of course, for the OCTANE Series. The most participation we've had week in, week out, regularly seeing over 25, if not 30 plus drivers. I guess we're going to see more of the same of that for, of course, as the goal for next year. But there's also some other plans. Ethan Lane was talking about it, a driver development program. Can you shed some more light on that for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're always looking for ways to try to help our guys and kind of give back, if you will. We really make the effort to kind of have a tight knit group of guys who race with us, and for lack of a better term, kind of invest in our members as best we can and create good camaraderie and different things. So this off season, we'll take one night a month for anybody who of our members who want to sign up, or friends or whomever, and we'll be doing a development program to kind of help them get better at their craft with sim racing here. And we've got the cool thing about our league really is that we've got guys who, like Ethan's a pro, and then we've got pros everywhere down to my dad races with us, right? So we want to invest in all of our members, and I think a good way of doing that is people like Ethan and Blake Cannon and Cody and myself and a couple other guys are going to take some time out to kind of show some of the things that maybe we've learned over the years. So guys who want to can get a little better, or not even just in the league, but like, hey, if I go on an official race, I can go run better there and enjoy my iRacing experience no matter where I take it, right? It's just not just because of the league, but we really want to see guys do better and have fun being racing with us. And I think this is a good way to go about doing it. It's free, so it's a good way to go about doing that and kind of give back to the members who make it all possible.
Exciting to see that's going to be coming up over the course of the next coming months, building for better and better. And of course, at FTN Broadcasting, we're thrilled to see what's up next for us as we go for our 4th season with you guys in the Octane Series. Until then, though, Jacob, we're going to let you go. If you've got anything else you'd like to send out to the fans here, it's all yours.
Yeah, I mentioned it last night. I'll say it again. Just obviously thank you to David. You do an incredible job, and we appreciate everything you do for us. It's been a great partnership, and I'm looking forward to continue that. Thank you once again to the admin team for both nights, Monday and Tuesday night. It's a lot of work to put these races on and to do all the things that we're doing as far as prizes and contests and the amount of prize, gifts and stuff that we give out. There's a lot to do and kind of manage the racing as well. So I want to thanks to all of them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's going to be about our members, right? So I want to thank all the members who signed up for Integrity Racing League this year. It's been one of our best years that we've ever had for both of our series. In our 13 years that we've been doing this, the consistency of the racing, the amount of people who showed up on a week-to-week basis is probably one of the best we've ever had. And so it certainly encourages us to keep the momentum going forward to next year as we go on with our Tuesday night series. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that pans out and what we have in store for our members. And like I said, just ride the momentum as we head into next year.
Jacob Fife with us from the beginning, of course, of the Integrity Racing League, and now heading toward our 14th year in action and our 4th season with FTN Broadcasting at the helm for the Octane Series. Thank you for your time here, letting us know what's next to come, and we, of course, hope you have a great offseason.
Thanks, man. You enjoy your time off as well. Have a good one, bud.
Jacob Fife on the way. You've heard from your 3rd place finisher, Ross Cato. Of course, again, we don't necessarily know where Jared Davis is. We haven't been able to hear from him all season long, but he came only 64 thousandths of a second short of beating the man, Ethan Lane. 12 wins, 13 poles, 1 championship in 2025. Your Octane Series title winner, Lane gets it done. Thank you for tuning in to our 60 races of coverage with the Integrity Racing League this year. We're excited to come back for Tuesday nights on FTN Broadcasting as we head back to business with the Octane Series for 2026 in the series' 4th year of racing. Congratulations to Ethan Lane on win number 12 and his 2025 title. We can't wait to see you back February in Daytona. Until then, I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of the action this season from the Integrity Racing League. Thank you to Jacob Fife and the admin team for putting it all together, and our wonderful fields on Mondays and Tuesday nights for coming out every step of the way. From FTN Broadcasting, this has been the 2025 Integrity Racing League. We can't wait to come back for 2026. Thank you all. Have a fantastic night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Boundless makes its presence felt. It will not be ignored. We're helping turn ideas into reality with a wealth of building products that take every architectural style to the next level. This is what it's like to imagine, build, and transform anything we want into exactly what we seek. This is what it means to be boundless.
Welcome to the Underdog Racing Podcast, where we talk to NASCAR drivers from all over the great country of America. Each week, we chat about the latest races, share stories from the track, and get to know the drivers behind the wheel. We break down the action, hear from drivers about their experiences, and dive into what drives them to keep racing. Whether you're a longtime NASCAR fan or just curious about the sport, this is the place for you. So tune in to the Underdog Racing Podcast, your inside look at the world of NASCAR. Catch us every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.